Welcome to the 2021-22 orientation for new students in the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences at Columbia. I am Carlos Alonso, Dean of the school, and I would like to offer you some brief remarks at the beginning of your career as graduate students in this university. Graduate education in the United States is the context in which the university reproduces itself as an institution. Faculty and students have typically regarded this reproductive activity as essentially replicative, much in the way in which genes are programmed to reproduce themselves both accurately and exactly. But reproduction does not need to be understood in such a conservative fashion. Reproduction can also be a moment of resignification and of the eruption of novel configurations that arise from the challenges facing the structure that seeks continuity in time. We know that the contemporary university is being buffeted by the many and sundry demands placed on it, which are both internal and social in nature. The university has always conceived itself as a custodian and transmitter of knowledge, yet finds itself in the current historical circumstance we inhabit, in which all knowledge circulates freely and does not require an explicit source or origin to vouch for its authority. And to make matters even more vexing, the institution is attempting to confront the situation while battling the lingering infrastructural and institutional effects of a worldwide pandemic. Yet, given that the University of the Future is being devised and constructed in our graduate programs, departments must find a way to incorporate this proleptic responsibility in their current curricula and in the careful consideration of the various skills they choose to hone in their graduate students. It is not enough to train students to live and work in the university as we understand it now. A certain dimension of their preparation must make allowances, must incorporate a degree of openness to what the university will become in the future. This is an extremely difficult demand, since it requires that we continually denaturalize what we know and what we are as scholars, and that we engage in the habit of cultivating the otherwise. Graduate education today must reinvest explicitly in its responsibility to reproduce the university, but in a creative and imaginative fashion. It must provide the continuity inherent in reproduction without engaging in the easy comfort of replication. We, scholars in all disciplines, and I include all of you here today in that category, must turn the university itself into our subject, perhaps our most important and peremptory subject, so that we may discharge effectively the epochal undertaking of glimpsing the contours of our possible future. We, your mentors and professors, will most likely not inhabit fully that brave new world, but we still have the duty to delineate it in its inchoate splendor from within the crisis-ridden, contradictory, and unstable ground of our institutional present. We must devote ourselves to the festive and sometimes melancholy project of shedding the institutional skin that we inhabit. You arrive today to Columbia with assumptions and expectations that you have nurtured in the years that have led you to this moment in your lives. What perhaps you have not suspected is that you will be a full-fledged participant in this ongoing rethinking of the university that is part and parcel of the work that is currently going on in the institution locally, nationally, and internationally. Given that you have barely unpacked your belongings, it may seem uncharitable for me to suggest that the institution of which you're now a part is not the immovable bedrock that you assumed it would be, but rather one in a state of transformation and profound flux. But you should take that circumstance as an invitation to contribute to this reconceptualization of the university as an institution, one that will require you not just to attend this university, but to help rethink its very essence. I encourage you then to devote your time assiduously to your studies, your research, and your teaching, but also to take time to observe how all of it is assembled, so that you may devise new ways of disassembling it and putting it back together again, so that you may contribute to this creative refashioning of the university in which all of us here, your professors, fellow students, administrators, and staff, are currently involved. If you do that, your Columbia experience will be more than simply a descriptive label for your years in this institution. It will also be a measure of how you have helped this fantastic institution in the most amazing city in the world transform itself into its future configuration. If you do that, when you leave us, you will not be just an alumnus or alumna of Columbia. You will have been the co-creators of its next incarnation as well. Thank you, and welcome again to Graduate Studies at Columbia.